Hi there guys, I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech and this is the unboxing and a quick hands-on review of the OnePlus 11. So here's the box. In India, this phone is available in two variants. Base variant is priced at 57,000 rupees and it comes with 8GB of RAM and 128GB of storage. Next variant is priced at 62,000 rupees and it comes with 16GB of RAM and 256GB of storage. It's available in two colors, Eternal Green and the Titan Black. We have the 16GB variant in the Eternal Green color. By the way, you can also get a 2,000 rupees of additional discount if you have an older OnePlus device or even if your friends have it. You can just claim the code from their phone. So overall, you can get the base variant at 55,000 rupees and the higher end variant at around 60,000 rupees. Anyway, the main highlights of the phone would be like any other previous OnePlus flagships. Like it's gonna come with the best in class performance, definitely upgrade in terms of display, cameras and overall performance. So besides these stuff, there really isn't anything super new with this phone. Anyway, we'll see more with the unboxing. So here's the box, a completely red box just like the previous OnePlus phones with the 11 on the front towards the top, and there's a slight dent or indentations for the 11 and that's the new change in the design. Anyway, towards the bottom it says OnePlus X Hasselblad. On the back there's the pricing and some more information. Now let's unbox it. First there's a smaller box followed by the phone and paper cover and not in plastic cover. You don't see that in the phone packaging. Next there's a 100-watt SuperVOOC charger. Finally a USB Type-C charging cable. Inside the box there's some documentation, a welcome quick guide, safety guide, membership card and stickers. And there's also a transparent silicone case. Now here's the phone. Let me just remove the cover. And this is how the phone looks on the front. And this is how the phone looks on the back. Now first, let's have a physical overview. On the back, this phone comes with a 3D curved fiberglass, which definitely feels pretty smooth, and it's also a fingerprint magnet. At the top, we got the camera module in a new circular design, which also is attached to the left side. So this is the new design language of the OnePlus 11. At the center, we got the OnePlus logo as well. Now on the front, we got a huge display with curved sides with a punch hole design. Pretty standard for a flagship. Now the bezels all around the phone are pretty slim, pretty sleek, and the phone definitely looks pretty good. Now for the sides, on the right side we got the alert slider that isn't missing, followed by the power button. On the left side we got the volume buttons made of metal. All the buttons are sufficiently elevated and they also have a nice clicky feel to them. At the top we got the secondary microphone and the speaker grill. At the bottom we got the SIM card tray housing two nano SIM slots. There's no SD card option obviously. Next the SIM card tray is followed by the primary mic, USB Type-C charging port and the speaker grill. By the way, this phone also comes with IP64 water and dust resistance, which is not the best but it's still pretty good. Now this phone has a thickness of 8.5 mm and weighs 205 grams. Now when you hold the phone in hand, it fits pretty perfectly. The phone is not too wide, so you can comfortably hold the phone single-handedly, and the weight distribution also is done really well. Even though it weighs more than 200 grams, phone doesn't feel all that heavy. It has a bit of weight to it, but overall the weight distribution makes it feel pretty good. Like it doesn't feel all that heavy. Now this is how the phone looks with the transparent silicone case. It just gives you some extra grip and basic protection, that's all. Not too much in terms of drop protection. I would recommend you to get a better case as soon as possible. Now with that said, these are the complete specifications of this phone. On the rear, this phone comes with a triple camera setup with a 50 megapixel primary camera with Sony IMX890 sensor with optical image stabilization, followed by a 48 megapixel ultra wide angle camera with Sony IMX581 sensor, and that's followed by a 32 megapixel telephoto lens with Sony IMX709 sensor, which offers 2x optical zoom. For selfies, we get a 16 megapixel camera with f2.45 aperture. Now when it comes to display, this phone has a 6.7-inch Fluid AMOLED display with Quad HD Plus resolution, 120Hz of screen refresh rate. It also has a 3rd gen LTPO calibration, it has Dolby Vision and has a peak brightness of 1300 nits. It's not the latest AMOLED panel, but it does look pretty good. It is an E4 AMOLED panel, while its competitor like iQOO 11 comes with E6 AMOLED panel, which is obviously better and more power efficient than the E4 panel seen on the OnePlus 11. So even though the display on the OnePlus 11 isn't the best or the latest one, it's still pretty good. It will definitely get the job done. By the way, it's also protected by Corning Gorilla Glass Victus on the top. Anyway, going to the performance section, this phone comes with the latest Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 processor with Adreno 740 GPU. It comes with two variants, 8GB variant and 16GB variant. Now, for both variants, you get the LPDDR5X RAM, but for the 128GB variant, it comes with UFS 3.1 storage. If you go with the 256GB variant, you get UFS 4.0 storage. So my suggestion is, if you're planning to buy a OnePlus 11, get the 16GB variant. You're getting more RAM, more storage and faster storage as well. By the way, this phone also comes with ray tracing enabled, so for the compatible games, visuals will definitely be better on the OnePlus 11. Now in the software department, this one comes with the Oxygen OS 13 based on Android 13, and it will get 4 years of OS updates and 5 years of security updates, which is definitely pretty good. Now in the battery department, this phone comes with a 5000 mAh battery, comes with a 100-watt Superbook charger where you can charge your phone from 0 to 100% in just about 25 minutes. By the way, there is no wireless charging on this phone, but the wired charging is pretty good. You can either go with the super fast charging speeds or go with the regular charging speeds. And OnePlus has claimed that this phone will have 4 years of peak capacity even while maintaining fast charging speeds. So that's definitely a pretty good thing. Now finally, this phone also comes with dual reality speakers with Dolby Atmos and has 50% higher bass protection. So that you can notice in the audio department. Now this is how the phone looks once you turn it on and set it up. Let's have a quick look at the user interface. This is a home screen. There isn't any bloatware. Here's the notification area and the settings page. Now here's the about page. This phone is running Oxygen OS 13 based on Android 13. Right now it has a January security patch, which really isn't that impressive. Anyway, when it comes to storage, out of that 256GB of space, we get about 225GB of space for our user apps and user data. And out of that 16GB of RAM, we get 11GB of RAM free right out of the box. Now this is the camera interface, which looks pretty different from your previous OnePlus phones and looks pretty similar to ColorOS. And you might have noticed a lot of ColorOS related elements throughout the phone, like the notification area, settings page, especially with all those colorful icons. I won't say it's good or bad, but personally I really don't like the current user interface of the Oxygen OS, or should I call it ColorOS. Anyway, this is how the camera interface looks like. We got the default photo mode, wide angle mode. We also got a dedicated toggle for 2x optical zoom. On the left side we got the video mode and night mode, and on the right side we got the portrait and the more section. We get the similar interface even for the front facing camera, and we also have night mode for selfies. Now these are some sample shots. Just like the previous flagships from OnePlus, cameras on this phone are definitely good, and Hasselblad has done a great job with the tuning and all. Pictures definitely look impressive. Now let's test the speakers on the phone. Here's a quick audio sample. So the speakers on this phone are super loud, and they're definitely great for media consumption and obviously for ringtones and alarms. Now let's test the fingerprint scanner. I forgot to mention, this phone comes with an in-display fingerprint scanner and it's pretty fast. Like, it unlocks the phone instantly. And you also get a nice haptic feedback whenever you unlock the phone, and that also feels pretty good. I'll talk more about the haptic engine later. Next, we also got the face unlock feature on this phone, and that too works really well. In good lighting conditions and even in low lighting conditions, face unlock works really well and almost unlocks the phone instantly, like within a second. In complete darkness, face unlock still works, but takes about a second or two to unlock the phone, which is still pretty fast. Now when it comes to connectivity, this phone comes with dual SIM options. We got Bluetooth 5.3, it is Wi-Fi 7 ready, we also got NFC, and these are all the 5G bands that are available on this phone. Now about the haptic engine, yes, this phone has a pretty good haptic engine, and there are many places that you can actually notice the haptic feedback. Like whenever you change the brightness using the brightness slider in the notification area, you can feel a subtle feedback. Even when you change the volume using the slider, there's a subtle haptic feedback. And whenever you change the camera modes in the stock camera application, once again there's a bit of a much more stronger haptic feedback. And overall, I really like the haptics and the places where OnePlus has used it. We also have a dedicated section for haptics and tones, and we have something called Haptics, which gives you a quick preview of how good the haptics are. Like, you can't see anything on the video, but if you can hold the phone, you can experience all the vibrations in sync with the visuals. So it's definitely pretty good, and you get to tweak with the haptic intensity and all. Now, I've been using this phone for a few hours, and these are my initial impressions. Design and build are top notch, really don't have any complaints with that. In the hardware department, we really have everything. Once again, nothing to complain over there. In the display department, it's an AMOLED display with 2K resolution. Even though it's an E4 AMOLED panel and it isn't as bright as the latest AMOLED panel, in indoor lighting conditions you won't notice any major differences. And in terms of power efficiency, once again it can't be known with 1 or 2 days of usage. Overall, display could have been better, but it's still pretty good. Now in the camera department, it definitely does take some pretty impressive pictures, but I wish the camera user interface and the overall user interface could have been more like stock Android. So coming to the problem, OnePlus phone used to be a flagship with pure stock Android experience. Like it had more features, but it did look and feel more close to stock Android. So now that has been changed. Even now, phone feels pretty smooth. All the animations are buttery smooth, especially because of the 120Hz screen refresh rate. But the UI elements and the overall look of the phone doesn't feel that good. Like it feels like a ColorOS or a Realme or an Oppo phone. That's the only downside. But honestly, if you're looking to buy a flagship around 50 or 60,000 rupees with top of the specs, good cameras and good performance as well, then OnePlus 11 is definitely one of the very few options out there. Especially one of the few good options out there. So despite the fact that I really don't prefer the software user interface, if I have to buy a flagship, I really don't have much of a choice. So to conclude, OnePlus 11 is definitely a pretty good phone at that price. It's not the best phone when you compare it to other flagships, but at that particular price segment, we really don't have other competitors which offer better things than the OnePlus 11, so we have to make do with it. So that's my conclusion. So guys, what do you think about this phone? Do let me know by commenting below this video. If you like this video, hit the like button, share it with your friends, and if you're planning to buy this phone, use the link in the description. It always helps the channel. With that said, this is Nikhil signing off. See you in my next video.